We can talk about, what type of offense you're running or what type of defense you're running, and some of it's good, some of it's bad. What I saw on Saturday is something scarier than that if I'm an LSU fan, this deep into Brian Kelly's tenure. They just had way better players than y'all. I mean, that was just an ass beating from a personnel standpoint. I don't think schematics was really the main fault there. I think it was the personnel. And Matt, I mean, that to me, how that happens at LSU this far in blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt defensively that's what it was. Brian Kelly's been asked every which way, what did you do for 2 weeks? And he even said on Monday, look, there's really only two ways that you're going to defend a running quarterback. I think LSU's coaches know what to do and how to have guys in the right position. The real challenge is you don't have guys up front on the interior that look like NFL players. You did last year with Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson and Mekhi Wingo. Those guys are all in the NFL right now. You got some young guys that are coming that are really good, but that in between has suffered. And your best guy was Jacobian Guillory. You lost him in the second game of the season. But guys, the real problem's on the back end. They have really struggled in the defensive secondary. The coverage has improved throughout the year, but the run fits and the tackling in the secondary are a problem. And that's why you've seen Marcel Reed, now Jalen Milroe, be able to run like they did. I mean, guys, we can go into how it is, why it is right now as far as the personnel at those spots. The good news for an LSU fan is the cavalry's on the way because they're recruiting at an exceptional level. They got some really good young players on the team right now, too. But guys, they're getting to the point where you really have to ask, okay, you have the experienced guys on the field because they know where they're supposed to be. They know what their assignments are. And the younger, more talented guys are on the sideline watching. Do you stomach the mistakes from the young, talented guys because they have the ability to make the really dynamic, physical plays? Or do you keep rolling with guys who are just a step slow?
Yeah. And look, there's some spots where, LSU and Auburn are kind of similar in that way. And to your point, everybody thinks about the back end as just coverage, but they don't understand those safeties and corners and nickels. They keep runs to 10 yards that should go for 60 yards. That's where I think there's a common misconception. Why can Marcel Reed hit the secondary and just be gone and nobody be there? Well, people aren't doing their job. And then Jalen Milroe, who's obviously incredibly talented, is able to extend those runs. And LSU fans are like, oh my God, like where are the safeties? This, that, and the other. It just, Cone, we sat there and watched it and talked about it. And I haven't seen LSU just get manhandled like that from a personnel standpoint.
Yeah, it was really something to watch. Matt, there seem to be a number of videos on social media that look like Brian Kelly is complaining to the referees towards the end of the game about Alabama still blitzing defensively. It's one that seems kind of a weird thing to complain about when you're in such a rivalry game like LSU and Alabama. But two, there is a scoring margin differential component to the tiebreaker in the SEC. Seems like that's taken into account. Is that something that happened? Are people making too big of a deal out of that? Or did you have a problem with what Brian Kelly was talking about?
So I didn't even see it real time, and nobody's really talked about it here this week. I did see the clip. There was a play on that drive. By the way, I mean, LSU was still trying to score. So Bama has every right to blitz and hit. I mean, you were trying to score with 30 seconds, and you did, but I mean, it's a very sad touchdown. But yeah, but you were trying to score, so the defense kept coming. I think what Brian Kelly had a problem, and I'm not carrying water, guys. There was the play where Nussmeier got hit late and he came up hobbling. It was after that play, after that hit, that I think Kelly was probably trying to, get a flag for his guy. I don't blame him for going to bat for his guy, but I also think just saying he was complaining about them blitzing, I think that's a misconception.
Gotcha. Okay. So now that you've seen Alabama up close in person, how good do you think they are? I mean, the two byes that they've been coming off of, when they played Georgia, the first half they looked incredible. Coming off of a bye playing LSU, they looked incredible. How good is this team really? Can they win the national championship?
No. Cone, did they look incredible, or is LSU just that terrible at stopping a running quarterback?
Do you think that's what it is?
Well, how did you stop Taylor Green then? Like, that's my thing.
It's a dramatically different responsibility, especially because you had an injured Jaquindon Jackson. But, Jake, I could point to Lenora Sellers at the beginning of the season. They had trouble with him. Marcel Reed, now Milroe. I mean, the outlier is what happened at Arkansas.
Oh, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. But it's you've shown the ability, and I get that Jaquinton Jackson's out. They got another big-ass back that Arkansas
I would have bought
really good
that.
player, the freshman.
I would have bought that going into last week. And I did. I was like, hey, look, they did it against Taylor Green. A week later, they got caught off guard with Marcel Reed. Now it's very obvious. That's what you are. Like, you're not good at it. The thing about Bama is, and I know how people know what I feel about Bama, and nobody should take me as objective. No one will take me as objective talking about Bama with the way I've behaved over the last 10 months. But I believe that still firmly. Like, Jalen Milroe missed 2 wide open receivers that should have been touchdowns. His inability to throw the ball vertically is a problem. I don't think their backs are great. I don't think their offensive line is great. It's funny to say coming off this game, but the truth is, guys, LSU's not great. They beat a Missouri team with Drew Pine playing quarterback. This is also a team that lost to Vanderbilt, that lost to Tennessee, was in a dogfight at home against South Carolina, was in a 1-score game at home in the fourth quarter against South Florida, allowed Georgia to come back from a 28-point deficit. Maybe the bigger story, guys, that everybody's got flaws. I mean, maybe that is the real answer, that everybody has real glaring flaws. And Alabama's not immune to that. And I do think they're going to lose again. I don't think they're winning a championship this year.
Well, I think that's what hurt the most for LSU fans, because if anybody knows what mega Bama looks like, it's LSU fans. It's like Auburn. They know when Bama is so much better than everybody else, what it looks like. This is not that Bama team. That's why I think there was that shock and awe after what happened, because you're like, new coach, somewhat flawed team, coming into Baton Rouge. Yeah, we're both a little bit flawed. You know, you got the live tiger there, which I know T-Bob was super excited about, that Jeff Landry brought that live tiger. I know nobody was more excited than importing the tiger from Florida as well. That was a great move when the Monroe Zoo's right down the street. But that I think that was the shock and awe, because this isn't Avenger Bama. This isn't Pacific Rim Bama. This is She-Wolf Bama, a good strawberry beer.
But this is also not a great LSU team.
No.
And I don't, guys, like, Jake, I wish, go back to the conversation we had at SEC Media Days this year. And the conversation about LSU was, man, breaks fall their way. They get better in some spots. Maybe they could be a 10-2 team and find their way in the back of the playoff, but more likely they're probably a 9-3, 8-4 team. You know, you lose the Heisman winner, 2 first-round picks, a receiver, your Broyles finalist offensive coordinator. You had the worst defense ever a year, literally, in program history. How much better are you? Like, the expectation for this LSU team wasn't to be a championship team. So that's, like, Bama is one conversation. As it pertains to LSU, the bigger question is, when will the roster look like it needs to look to be able to compete for a national championship? Because it's clearly not there now.
Yeah.
So are you willing to pull back, take the 10,000-foot view, and see a path for Brian Kelly to where he can get there? I mean, that's the bigger question around LSU that they have to answer. Guys, if you think the answer is no, you still got a 10-year contract where 90% of that thing is guaranteed. You ain't going nowhere. So you better find the path is really the answer.
Yeah, Matt, and that's what I was looking at. You know, we talk about all these previous LSU coaches who won national championships. Hell, Ed O won one. You know, and I look at this roster for LSU last year. Jaden Daniels. I mean, you just have absolute Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Tyron Lacey, Mason Taylor. You have all these absolute dogs, and the only thing you have to do is put an okay defense on the field, and you couldn't do that. Do you think Brian Kelly missed his boat for a national championship team last year?
Oh, last year for sure. If you had a competent defense, I mean, you guys agree? Like that, they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the best offense in the country. Like literally, total and scoring offense, they were number one in the country.
The best offense, worst defense. It was an incredible combination.
A competent defense, you're a playoff team at least, and you see how the breaks may fall when you get there. That's not to say, though, Blaine, that he can't get there again. The odd thing is, look, he showed up. It was a terrible situation. We all understand that. It was back-to-back losing seasons. They had like 38 players in that bowl game. And they hit in the portal. They got Jaden, and they hit on some guys in particular in the secondary. Well, all those guys were one-year guys. And so they went back to the portal again last year, and they whiffed on everybody. And that's what happened defensively. All the while, he's tried to steadily build through the high school ranks, and they're doing a good job of that. Guys like the 24 signing class, the guys that are freshmen this year, that's a really good class. The class they're about to ink in December might be the best signing class, LSU's literally in the era of like the rankings and all that stuff might be the best class they've ever signed. And then 26 in Louisiana, 6 of the top 70 players in the country are from Louisiana.
Yeah.
So like you can see exactly there's a bumper crop like that in the state every half decade or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see a path. The problem is now you're talking about, okay, well, are you patient enough to get to 2026, 2027, right? Because that may be what it looks like.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's get one in the chat, and then Matt's got to skedaddle.
All right, let's go to Chris. He wants to
I like
know.
the word skedaddle.
I can't believe that just came out of my mouth.
All right, let's go to Chris. He says, Matt,
skedaddle.
do you think LSU is 100% out of the playoffs?
Okay. Guys, do you have a quick second so I could share this with you?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Love to hear this.
Is it cap scoring margin?
Yeah.
No.
Because you'll need more than a second.
Yeah, we got the page.
So this is numbers. This is bonkers. But like I was just doing this for my show today. Like literally before I came on with you guys, I was doing this. I was mapping out this segment, prepping this segment. Okay, like what realistically would it take for LSU to get to the playoffs? Now they'd have to win the SEC. We agree, right?
Yeah.
Like they can't.
Yes.
Like they're not going as an at-large. No,
Sure.
right? We all agree there.
Yeah.
So if they go 6-2 in the league, they have to beat Florida, Vandy, Oklahoma. Not a given, but do we think LSU can do that?
Yes.
Should be favored in all of them.
Okay. That's a better way to say it. They'd be favored. They do that, they get to 6-2. If Georgia beats Tennessee this weekend and Arkansas beats either Texas or Missouri, LSU wins a 7-team tiebreaker of 6-2 teams and goes and plays the winner of Texas A&M.
So wait, say it again.
Yeah.
Because Alabama would need to lose another one, right?
No, Alabama doesn't need to lose because if Alabama goes 6-2 currently, so it would be the 4th tiebreaker. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the cumulative winning percentage of your conference opponent. So like take every team that Alabama's played in the SEC, every team Tennessee's played, every team LSU's played, Missouri, all of them. Take their opponent's cumulative winning percentage. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And that team would advance.
But point A is head-to-head competition.
Would they eliminate the head-to-heads
but-
and then group them together?
No. Because it would have to be head-to-head among all the tied teams.
Okay.
And then it would go to the common opponent. But there's no common opponent among all the tied teams. So it would get down to the 4th tiebreaker among these 6, or if Bama's in there, 7 teams. And LSU would have the highest winning percentage among all those teams and would go play the winner of Texas A&M.
So it's possible. Can I just say what this reminds me of for 1 second? This reminds me of, because it's not, the likelihood of that isn't great. I think we can all agree here. This is kind of like
Georgia beats Tennessee?
Oh, I think Georgia's going to beat Tennessee.
Do you think Arkansas beats Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah. Right now,
Do
they
you
would be
think-
favored.
Then if LSU wins out, they go to the SEC championship game.
It's wild.
See, I just
Like I'm telling you,
man.
here's where I'm. So Matt, give me the teams that would be involved in the tiebreak.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And just give me those teams.
Yeah. That's
All
what
right,
I want to know.
I don't want to. Do you want me to tell you I'll tell you the numbers. The numbers are bore people, but I'll tell you
Just the names.
if you want.
I just need the names. Which teams would be involved in that tiebreaker?
LSU,
Okay.
Georgia,
Okay.
the loser of Texas A&M.
Okay. Let's just say Texas for S's and gigs.
Okay, Texas, Missouri,
Okay.
Tennessee, Ole Miss, and then conceivably Alabama.
So would
Hold on,
Missouri?
How is Missouri still in there if they would pick up their 3rd?
If Arkansas were to
So
beat Texas and lose to Missouri, right?
Correct. But if
Yes.
Arkansas beats Missouri, then Missouri would be out.
Okay.
Dude, there
So
would be
all of those
Bama
teams that I
fans. would
the 8 teams that I just mentioned, LSU, Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama, Tennessee, Missouri, Texas A&M, Texas. Those 8 teams are all potentially going to finish with 2 losses.
Okay.
Have the opportunity.
Yes.
LSU would have the highest cumulative conference opponent winning percentage of those teams and would go play the loser of Texas A&M.
So they wouldn't say, all right, Bama beat LSU,
because it's no
Georgia
because
beat Tennessee,
No,
because it may be a circular firing.
Who
squad.
offsets that, though?
Exactly.
I'm wondering, who did you guys beat? Okay. So what offsets
here's
the
problem,
Alabama
Cone.
head-to-head?
Colin, Cone, here's the problem. Remember,
Colin.
Good.
So here's I combined Cone and problem.
Yeah.
So LSU didn't play Mississippi State, who's 0-6.
I see.
They didn't play Kentucky, who's 1-5.
Yeah.
Georgia played them both.
Didn't play
You
Auburn.
see what I mean? They play Auburn. LSU didn't play Auburn, Mississippi State, 2 historical games LSU plays every year. They didn't play this year. And all those teams at the bottom of the league, LSU didn't play. So LSU right now, their SEC opponents' cumulative win-loss record is 26-24 with a winning percentage of .520. The next closest is Georgia at .437, 21-27. Now, oddly, Bama is identical with LSU at .520. But under the scenario I just said, if Arkansas, who LSU played, beats Missouri, who Bama played, then LSU's opponent's cumulative winning percentage would go up.
All right, Matt, last thing I want to say, I know you got to get out of here.
Right?
Are you telling me that just by playing Auburn could keep Alabama out of the, regardless of the score?
Kind of, yeah.
Just by showing up and playing the game. Oh my God, I don't think we're it, dude. That's absolute.
Man.
You know
There
what?
you go.
Is it
You're
the
welcome.
Vanderbilt game? Is it the Vanderbilt game that offsets the head-to-head with Alabama because Vanderbilt would have beaten Bama and y'all will have?
And I don't know why you're stuck on the head-to-head. I'm talking about 8 teams.
I'm stuck on it because it's point A in the tiebreaker, head-to-head competition among tied teams.
But Cone, it would have to be among all the tied teams. So you're talking about the potential of 6, 7, 8 tied teams. Those 8 didn't all play each other. So
But some of them did. But some of them did, though.
Right. But what Jake said is right because it's circular. Because LSU beat Ole Miss. Well, Ole Miss beat Georgia.
And that's what I'm saying.
Well,
So
Georgia beat
Vanderbilt.
Texas. And so it doesn't matter. It would have to be all those teams. If Georgia would have beaten all of those teams head to head, then Georgia would advance. But they all didn't play each other. So
See, and this is why the ACC has a secondary clause for 3 tied teams that's different than the 2 tied teams.
Which that
you
just
should propose that. You should propose that to the SEC.
I'm still not over the capped relative scoring margin.
Oh, we dove into that, Matt. Hey,
are you kidding me?
Yeah. If you want to try and figure out the end of Interstellar,
seriously, Matt.
I missed the BCS.
You should look it up.
Blaine
I
just wants
missed
to
the
go back to
BCS. Can we go back?
Oh, Matt.
No.
Hey, buddy, I know you got to roll. Thanks so much for hopping in. Tell everybody where they can find you in your beautiful Rubik's Cube of tiebreaker situations.
Bro, how wild is that? Really?
That's wild.
You sneaky bastard.
You're always up to something, man.
Y'all are always up to something.
By the way, I gave that to you before I even gave it to my audience because I'm going on air in 9 minutes.
How about
so you're
that?
welcome.
I'm sure they're going to be happy to hear that.
So if you want to hear that again, come join me in 9 minutes on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge or 1045ESPN.com or the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. There you go. I gave you all your show prep, guys. I gave you great content.
Thank you. All right, Matt. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Appreciate you guys stopping by. As usual, you hear this on every channel. Take a second, hit that subscribe button. It's great for you. It's great for us. It's great for America.